Hey y'all, this is Dietra D and welcome to another episode of the Dietra D Show. You might hear a little hum in the background. I had to get comfortable, turn my fan on because I'm having a hot flash, and grab me a bottle of water because this is going to be a long one because I need to take my time with this one, and there might even be a part 2. I want to go backwards just for a minute or two and tell y'all again why I decided to start this podcast. I wanted to start this podcast because I've always been very opinionated, and some of you might relate. I was raised to just be a cute little girl, go sit in the corner and be quiet. Nobody cares what you have to say. Nobody's going to listen to you. So fast forward today. My last job that I just left, which was in law enforcement, they have the same mentality in that environment, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a black woman. Nobody cares what you have to say. Listen to your superiors, that's it. Now, this particular episode, it's going to be a lot. I have a lot to say about it, and it's things that needs to be said. Some people are either scared to talk about it. Some just don't want to talk about it, want to sweep it under a rug like it doesn't exist. But yeah, that's not me. I don't do that. The things that are going to get said in this episode, they need to be said, and some people need to listen, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that feels this way. So, this episode is about racism and hatred, and there are a lot of different little mini subjects that fall underneath that huge umbrella of racism and hatred. I'm going to start off by giving you a few examples. Some of hatred and racism, and some of empathy, caring, love, brotherhood, and sisterhood. Now, this episode might rub some of you the wrong way. I really don't care. If it does rub you the wrong way, then you need to go and examine why that is. Either you're not black and you are racist and have some kind of hatred in your heart, or I don't know. But again, if this episode bothers you, you need to go figure out why. So anyway, here goes. I was raised to judge people based on their character, not the way that they look. And I've always been that way. I'm sorry about that. I've always been that way. You know, I go out into the world and I treat people the way I want to be treated, the way I want my child to be treated. And I've always been that way from as far back as I can remember. Now, fast forward to this present time that we're in. This started even before Trump got in office. Why do so many people just walk around like they're mad at the world? Either you're mad and bitter about something, or you're showing your racism and your hatred for other people based on their skin color. I don't get it. I don't understand that. Those things have always been foreign to me because I've never operated that way. And it really started weighing on my heart, which is why I wanted to make this episode. I started feeling something that I've never felt before, even with people that I don't like. And that's hatred. I could literally feel the hatred starting to fill up my heart. And I really didn't like that, because at my core, that's not who I am. And I started feeling that way in January. Like I say, it didn't just start with Trump getting in office this second time. It's been building. A particular incident happened when I was in high school. My mom came and picked me up from school on this particular day that she was off work. Normally I'd ride the bus home, but she picked me up this day. We were on the freeway heading home, and her car stopped. Now, if you've never stopped on a freeway, it is pretty nerve-wracking, let me tell you, especially if you're a kid. So she was able to pull the car over on the side of the highway. I'd say we sat there maybe like 20 or 30 minutes. And then, thank God, this tow truck with this Latino guy pulled up in front of us. And he was very nice. He was very nice. He wasn't old. He looked like he might have been in his 30s. You know, he was a young Latino guy. And he asked my mom if, he could, tow us anywhere. And, my mom said that, she just really wanted to, get me home. She had just picked me up from school, so she wanted to get me home. So he hooked up our car, to his tow truck, and proceeded to take us home. And I remember he asked my mom again when we got home I think he asked her if she wanted him to take her in the car to a shop or something. And I do remember my mom saying no, because I remember at that time my mom happened to be dating a guy who owned his own automotive shop. So she told him that, he could just leave the car in our driveway, which he did. And I remember my mom getting her purse and asking how much she owed him for that. And this stuck with me. I remember he was like, "No charge, ma'am. I just wanted to make sure that you and your daughter got home safely." He didn't have to do that. That showed tremendous kindness on his part. So that was a positive episode. I'm sorry, not episode. That was a positive experience. Now, fast forward to my job. The year was 2019. Like I say, I was in law enforcement. I worked in a courthouse. And even when you got up close on me, the uniform that I wore could be mistaken for a police uniform. So I remember I got home this particular night. I stopped and checked my mail. Now, I don't know if maybe he was a little intoxicated. He didn't seem to be intoxicated, but I don't know. He could have been or not. I don't know. Anyway, I stopped in the mail room to check my mail. And I don't know if he was waiting for someone. A Latino guy, sorry. And he wasn't an old Latino guy. Looked like he might have been in his 20s. I don't know if he was waiting on someone or what. But he was standing in the middle of the aisle in our mail room. And he was standing in the middle of the aisle in a way where, it was a pretty close call. You have to say, "Excuse me." So I did that. I said, "Excuse me." And he opened his mouth, and this was No, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm thinking about another incident. The incident that I was intending to tell you happened in 2019. This incident that I'm describing now happened just last year in 2024. So anyway, he was standing in the middle of the floor, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this. You know, you have to say, "Excuse me." There's not enough room to walk around without accidentally, touching somebody. So when I saw that he deliberately wasn't going to move because he saw me coming. So when I saw that he was not going to move, I just said, "Excuse me." And I wish I could remember what he said, but I can't. But I do remember he said something, and it was smart. And he gave me a really nasty look. And then you could see literally when his face changed, because he got a good look at me, and I saw him give me a quick once over. And when he looked at my uniform, he immediately shut up. I guess he thought I was a cop, which I wasn't. I worked in the courthouse, but I was not a cop. So if I hadn't had that uniform on, he probably would have continued on with his smart ass comment. But my uniform is what stopped him, and I'm glad it did, because I don't know if he would have escalated it or what. But when he shut up, I just continued to walk on out of the mail room. Some people, and again, this was a Latino man, I don't know what it is, but some people, they just look for a reason to start conflict with you, especially if you are of another race. Like I say, I don't know if he had been drinking or what. I can't tell you that. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that he was definitely looking for a conflict that left a bad taste in my mouth. Now, let me back up to the incident that I first started to tell you. This incident happened in 2019. I had been at this job in the courthouse for about a year. I started in 2018. My superior, she was the sergeant at the time. She was a deputy. She was looking for a new supervisor for our evening shift. The young Latino guy that was already in there, he didn't want to do it anymore, so he asked me if I would take over the position because he was just fed up. He didn't want it anymore. I told him, sure, I'm always up for a challenge. So, we both went to to our superior, the sergeant, and she was like, okay, not a problem. I'll put you in there. And she did. Now, here comes the conflict. There was another Latino guy, little chubby thing. I guess he might have been in his, you know what? I never did know how old he was. He might have been in his middle or late 20s, maybe even early 30s, not sure. But anyway, he thought that he was going to get the supervisor position. Now, keep in mind, the sergeant told me, and she told the other Latino guy that thought he was going to get the position. The reason that he didn't get it is because, number one, he showed up to work late a lot. So that automatically right there disqualified him. He was always showing up late. So I get the position. He let it be known immediately. And also, this particular Latino guy, we had been friendly before this. But as soon as our sergeant put me in that supervisor position for our evening shift, his attitude, his whole demeanor toward me immediately changed. he became insubordinate. He would do and say, little shady things to get under my skin. I never let him. Every time I would tell him something, I would get pushback from him. And I'm not going to, even though this is my podcast, I'm not going to tell you what it was that he said, but let me just say this. He didn't say it around anybody else. Of course, racists never do. Let's just say he let me know that people that look like me, meaning black people, should not be in positions of leadership or any kind of power. Yeah, he let me know that to my face. I'm like, okay. Thank you for showing me your true colors. Now, again, he never, of course, this was just, we were the only ones present. Like I said, racists, they never show their true colors to the public. But he definitely showed them towards me. So every night, I know probably for at least, it might have been a little more than a month. Every night, the phone in my office would ring, and it would always ring at around the same time. And I would answer, hello? Nobody said anything. Hello? I would say it twice. Sometimes I'd say it 3 times. Nobody would say anything. This continued on for at least a month and a half, close to 2 months. Every night at around the same time, the phone would ring. It didn't take long. After the 3rd time that it happened, I knew that it was him doing that. Now, some of you all might say, oh, you don't know if that was him or not. Come on now, let's be for real. That had never happened before. So yeah, every night for the first month and a half, close to 2 months, it would happen, and it would be around the same time every night. Because after a certain time, I would be in the office alone. Everybody else, the morning shift supervisors, they would be long gone. So I would be in the office alone, and every night for almost 2 months, the phone would ring at around the same time. Hello? Nobody would say anything. Hello? Still nothing. Hello? After that 3rd hello, I'd hang up. So yeah, another incident. Now, on this particular day, I had a witness. Our sergeant, who is a huge male, he was a former NFL player. Huge. I mean, when I say this man was huge, anyway, the office at this particular time was set up. There were 3 desks in there. I was sitting at the desk where when you came in the door, you could immediately see me. He was sitting at the 2nd desk out of sight. So when you would come in, it would look like I was in the office by myself. You didn't know that somebody else was in there with me. So on this particular afternoon, there was something going on at the post that I sent this Latino guy to. I remember the sergeant, he told me, Miss D, call, I'm not going to say his name, call such and such back, referring to the Latino guy, call such and such back and tell him to do this. So I'm like, okay. So I called him at his post and I told him, such and such, you need to do this. Now, I didn't tell him that the sergeant said it, I just gave him the instructions on what to do. And of course, as usual, he gave me pushback, even got snippy with me, got a little bass in his voice, telling me what he wasn't going to do. So I repeated myself, repeated the instructions that the sergeant gave me. And when he proceeded to get smart again, I didn't entertain that. I politely hung the phone up. If I tell you, it wasn't even 5 minutes, because the particular post that he was at that day was just right across the street from the office. If I tell y'all, it wasn't even 5 minutes, that door slung open and I could see him coming down the hallway, fist balled up, face red, like he was really about to do something to me. I didn't budge, because if he had put a hand on me, I'd have had a nice little lawsuit. I didn't budge. I did not move not one butt cheek out of that chair. Do you hear me? And also, our sergeant was sitting there. He didn't know that. So he comes into the office, excuse me, face red, fist balled up, like he ready to fight. And as soon as he walked in, our sergeant, this huge black man that used to be an NFL player, he stands up and tells the Latino guy that he needs to stand down right now. The Latino guy looked like he was going to buck up to the Sarge. The Sarge came from around that desk and told him again, you need to stand down. Now, with all this going on, my behind is still sitting right there in that chair just watching. And then the phone rings. So I had to leave the office when all of this was going on, because I wanted to see how this was going to end. I had to leave the office because another coworker had called for my assistance at her location. So I had to leave the office and go, see what she needed. By the time I got back to the office, the Latino guy was gone and Sergeant told me he had sent him back to his post. And I asked him, I was like, what the hell? And he went on to, tell me, he was like, I had to tell him, Miss D, you are the supervisor. That's how it's going to be. He does not have the right to be insubordinate with you. So he got written up for that and disciplined. He was disciplined on more than one occasion, because every time he said something that he was not supposed to say to me, I wrote his ass up. Yeah. You don't scare me. You don't intimidate me. So, off of that incident right there, my attitude started changing towards Latino people. Now, just stick with me, because I'm going somewhere. Don't get your panties in a bunch. Just listen. My feelings started changing toward Latinos. Now mind you, when I was in high school, most of my friends, male and female, were Latinos, because at the high school that I went to, it was a majority black and Latinos. Now, fast forward back to that incident. I had never experienced anything like that. And of course, it upset me, because how dare you act that way towards me just because you think that you should have gotten a position that you didn't get, and that you think that you should have gotten it over me just because I'm a black woman. So that was the beginning of my attitude change toward Latinos. I don't like it, but it is what it is. A second incident. Now, this incident didn't happen to me. I saw this on, I think it was TikTok. And hopefully the guy has been caught by now. There were 4 people involved. 3 Latinos against 1 black girl. There was 1 Latino male and 2 Latino females, mother and daughter. The mother and daughter were caught. Last I heard, the Latino guy hadn't been caught yet. This was all over a parking spot. And it's not just this story. There have been I've seen several stories like this, even here in my local city. I've seen it on the news several times, but this particular incident really ticked me off. It was over a parking spot. I couldn't even hear everything that was said, but the Latino mother and daughter basically jumped on this black girl and beat her up. Now, why the Latino guy felt he needed to jump in, I have no clue. But he jumped his ass in, and you got these 3 Latinos, 2 female and 1 male, just beating the holy hell out of this one black girl. And mind you, also, there were people standing in their doorway watching. Nobody bothered to lift a finger. But that's a story for another day. Anyway, these 3 Latinos, again, 2 female and 1 male, just beat the holy hell out of this girl. That continued to shift my attitude in a negative way toward Latinos. And that leads me back to the way that I started this video. That leads me back to the way that I started this episode. It appears that, and let me say this, is it all Latinos? No, it is not. But what I have seen, especially since Trump has got in office this second time, what I have seen is that there seems to be a lot of Latinos that think that they have the protection of white people. As I like to say, I guess they think they're white adjacent. I don't know why that is, but a lot of Latinos have aligned themselves with white supremacy. Again, why that is, I have no clue. Because as we've been seeing in this fuck around and find out stage that we're in now, a lot of Latinos have found out the hard way. No matter how many times you vote for them, no matter how much you try to align yourselves with them, racist white people are always going to show you that you are not white. You never will be white. You are not one of them. They will use you, and by they, again, I'm talking about racist white people, white supremacy. They will use you to get your votes, and that is it. When push comes to shove, they are always going to remind you who you truly are. You are Latino. You are not white. And I started thinking, I started having this inner conflict, because I remember all of my friends from high school, the people that I had such a close, fun, funny, kind friendships with. I had such good friends when I was in high school. And again, most of them were Latino. I mean, all kinds. Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban. But none of us cared about that. We were just friends. We had fun together. We laughed together. We did things that we had no business doing together. It was just a fun time. Nobody cared what you looked like. So those memories, those good, positive memories started colliding with my present day feelings. And it just really started tearing me up. I would just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then in the present day, I would come across a Latino. So nice. So kind. Shows empathy to other people. And I literally have conversations with myself. I'm not ashamed to say it. I talk to myself a lot. And so I had to sit down. Excuse me, y'all. I had to sit down and I literally had an out loud conversation with myself. And I was like, I cannot let hatred find a place in my heart. I can't. Are there a lot of racist Latinos out there that want to align themselves with white people, white racists, white supremacy? Yes, there are. But you know what? There's still some good ones out there. There really are. And I had to say that to myself. I'm like, you know what? I refuse to become one of them. And by one of them, I'm talking about racist. Not just Latino racists who are racist, but white people who are racist, Asians who are racist. I refuse to let myself become like them. I won't do it. I can't. That's not who I am at my core. So I'm like, you know what? Just continue to do what you've always done, Dietra. Just treat people. Go out into the world, which, to pivot for a quick second, I don't go out hardly anymore. The times and the world is too toxic. But yeah, I was like, Dietra, just do like you've always done your whole life. I'm 52 years old. I'll be 53 on my next birthday. Just do what you've always done. In the end, it'll pay off. Just go out into the world whenever you do need to go out there and treat people the way that you want to be treated and that you want your child to be treated. Racism and hatred, it's alive and well, y'all. But you know what? I believe. I have to believe. And I do believe. When it's all said and done, it's not going to win out. Everybody that has shown their true colors, and that goes for everybody, not just the racist Latinos, but the racist white people. Again, the racist Asian people. Everybody who has had their hatred, racism on full display is going to come back to bite you. You chose to be on the wrong side of history, and it's going to come back to bite you. So yeah, I had to get that off my chest. It needed to be said. I'm not going to be like them. Anytime I feel those negative feelings coming up, and they still come up, I have to fight that urge to hate on a regular basis. I really do. I have to fight against it. I can't let it win. Because if I give in to it, it'll just take over. You can't let hatred take over. Too many people have already done that. That's why you got so many people out here trying to pick fights with black people. You got a lot of white people doing it. You got a lot of Hispanic people doing it. Latino people. You got a lot of them. It's like they're on social media and out in public at the grocery stores, at the malls, the restaurants. They're everywhere, deliberately trying to pick fights with black people. Black people, y'all protect yourselves. If you have a license to carry, do so. If you don't carry you a pew-pew, get you a blade, get you some pepper spray. Just be careful. And it's not about being a good little Negro. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying do like I have to tell myself to do daily. Go out into the world and treat people the way you want to be treated. And if you do find yourself in an unfortunate situation, make sure you immediately take out your phone and record it so you'll have some evidence. But yeah, this is something that has been sitting on my heart for quite some time, and I just had to come out and say it. I couldn't hold it in anymore. So that's the first part of that. Now this next part, it'll be a little shorter. Like I said, this might have to be a part 2, because as I said at the top of the episode, there are a lot of little mini discussions that fall under this huge umbrella of hatred and racism. Now that I've talked about my feelings toward racist Latinos, and I've touched upon, I didn't go in on white supremacy. I'll get back to them later. I wanted to take care of the Latino part of the discussion first, because that was the one that had been weighing the most heavy on my heart. So I've got that one out of the way. Now, before I get to white supremacy, let me deal with you anti-black Negroes out there. And it goes without saying, of course, it's not all black people. I love being a black woman. There are a lot of black people out there that still have such pride in being black and who we are as a people. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But it really makes my ass itch when I happen to come across one of you anti-black Negroes. I just want to grab you and just shake the hell out of you like, did you ever have any black pride? And if you did, when did you lose it? Why do some of y'all want to be validated by non-black people, especially white people, so much? Do you think that white people will give you a little pat on the head and toss you a treat if you align with them? I'm going to tell you anti-black people the same thing that I said about Latino people. It doesn't matter how many times you try to align yourself with white people. They will always remind you that you are not one of them. And if you had any pride in your blackness whatsoever, you would not even want nor care about being one of them. Y'all need to be studied. You really do. I'm still talking about you anti-black Negroes. Y'all really need to be studied, because it's fascinating to watch how some of y'all so willingly and so easily tap dance for white people. It's amazing to watch. I've seen it in real time. I really have. It's a sight to see. And it's a pitiful one. It's like some of y'all just, you just, I don't even know how to put it. It's just, like I say, it's a sight to see. It's a pitiful sight, but it's a sight to see. Some of y'all just literally do backflips to get white acceptance. Whew, my mouth is dry. I'm going to have to stop it right there. But yeah, just some things I needed to get off my chest. Some things that needed to be said. If it ruffles some feathers, oh well, y'all will live. And any Latinos that hear this episode, if you get mad, ask yourself, why are you mad? Are you one of these Latinos that are racist? Is that why you're mad? Anywho, I'm going to end the episode right there. There will be a part 2 coming up later today. Anyway, this is Dietra D, and this has been the Dietra D Show. I thank you all for listening. Stay tuned for part 2. Y'all have a good day, and I will talk to you later on. Bye-bye.